Good afternoon. My name is David Garvey with Illinois WorkNet, and I want to thank you for joining the CNL Supreme Virtual Job Fair. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available afterwards. And if there's any questions that come up, you can communicate them via the chat. And I will now introduce Don Nassbaum.
Thank you, David. My name is Don Nassbaum. I am representing CNL Supreme today. The actual operations manager is Don Coleman, and he was not able to attend. I'm with Business and Career Services, a nonprofit that is funded under a federal grant called WIOA, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. We are part of the North Suburban Cook County American Job Center, and we welcome you to go to the North Cook Job Center website to learn more about what we and our partners do. I would like to introduce the company to you. CNL Supreme is a high-end, very precision-related tooling company that uses CNC machinery. And if you could bring me to the first slide, please, and bring it over so I could see a little bit more about the history. The company was founded in 1957, and it's gone through a number of name changes. But the most important thing is they are known for making auto aftermarket parts and screws and other kinds of hardware. And the tolerance and the level of precision of what they're using is very high. One of the words that you're going to see in the job descriptions is Swiss. If Swiss is used, that's a high level of technology. They're using CNC, which is computer numeral machinery, which is a high level of manufacturing. And the people that they're looking for are people with some experience in the field. Could you go to the next slide, please? So that's a little bit more detail about what they do and what sets them apart in the marketplace. Again, it's no longer just limited to auto parts aftermarket. It also includes screws and connectors and high precision parts. And they have some pretty good pictures of some of the products that they make. Could you go to the next slide, please? I'm not seeing the full picture, David, so if you could go a little bit to the left. These are the positions. We need to go a little bit to the left a little bit more. Okay, so these are the kind of positions that they're looking to fill. Remember, I said Swiss means a high level of technology. So CNC, again, is computer numerated. And so you have CNC Swiss machining, turning, milling. I don't see the word lathe there, but they have a lathe position that they're looking to fill. They have a micro machining. It's also called a micron. Forgive me, I have it right in front of me. Micron setup. They have assembly positions. At the assembly level, they may be able to take somebody who has less experience and train. They do offer what's called technology and manufacturing training on site. They also have post-processing availability, and that means usually deburring, polishing, finishing. Could you go to the next slide, please? This is where I'd like to see if you could bring it to where you can see to the left a little bit more and maybe minimize the picture. Look at the detail on these parts. That one tool in the middle is particularly interesting to me. That is too, but where you go back to the brass colored parts, a little bit further, that kind of detail in the engraving there. CNL Supreme is really looking for people with a lot of experience in CNC and Swiss machining. Could you go to the next slide, please? There's some more detail. There's a great variety of parts that they manufacture for a number of industries, not just automotive. Next slide, please. If you have time, I'd like to run the video. This is really fascinating. This is not your grandfather's manufacturing. If you're familiar with these kinds of machines, CNL Supreme is eager to meet you. Very cool. Can we go to the next slide, please? So what is CNL Supreme looking for in a new candidate and somebody who they would like to promote? That would be a person who's energetic, a team player, has a positive attitude, wants to expand their knowledge of their craft. They have dedication. And I lost that picture there, David. Love to the left. Seeks to improve process with suggestions. So there's two parts. One about expanding the knowledge of your craft. That means if they want to send you to a junior college for a certificate training, the answer would be yes, I'm very eager to do that. Or to participate in their on-site technology and manufacturing training. But also, this is a company that is very family oriented, and they like to have suggestions going vertically from, top to bottom, back and forth, input, process, engagement. And so that is something that they're looking for people who they would hire and be glad to promote and train. Can I go to the next slide, please? They do have very competitive wages. Right now, with 3 of the positions that I looked at randomly, they have $800 to $1,000 sign-on bonuses. Some of these positions, if it's very entry level, it may start at about 30,000, but the potential pay, depending on your background and experience, could be a start of 82,000 a year. They have on-the-job training, as I said, off-campus training, which I told you that was the technology and manufacturing. That's both on and off training. They have a 401k. They have healthcare benefits. And again, as I said, it's a family-oriented atmosphere. This is the kind of place where you want to knock on the door and offer your input and ask questions. Could we go to the next slide, please?
That is actually the final slide of the presentation.
Okay, well then what I'd like to share in the chat box, it will include information to reach the operations manager. Again, that's Don Coleman, Coleman. Don would like you to send resumes to him directly. Please include the job that you're applying for. And you should copy me because I'm supporting Don in his recruitment efforts. Give me a moment and I will bring up the information to share in the chat box. Now, David, you may tell me that in the presentation, nobody will be able to see that. Is there some way for you to save that so it could be shared in your presentation?
Yes, what we can do is we can add this as a another slide to the PowerPoint, and then when we can add that to the employer booth for CNL.
Very good then. So did we lose that or is it still there?
It's still there in the chat.
Okay. Well, David, for the benefit of the people who intended to participate in the virtual job fair today, but had other conflicts, do you have questions that you could ask me that I may be able to address?
Sure, yeah. One of them is, do you know if there's any, it comes up quite a bit in our other virtual job fairs. Do you know if there's any opportunities for working from home? I know it's kind of different with manufacturing, but that is a question that does come up.
Sure. I think the remote question should go directly to Don at the email address that I offered you. But obviously the manufacturing jobs that we were describing today, no, that would not be a remote position.
Okay. Another question that we have quite a bit is how can a candidate stand out and get an interview, assuming that they are qualified for the position they apply for?
Well, I think there are certain standard things that always put a person's best foot forward. The first is do your homework. Go to the website and learn as much as you can about the company, the industries that they serve, the services and products that they provide, and see if you could look for newsletters about CNL Supreme to find out what they're doing in the news or what the news represents that they're doing, so that you can figure out how to show what value you have to add to the company. And one of the ways to do that is, I call it a Sar story. Think about something that you did in your past in your job where you had a situation and you took an action, and what was the result? What made you stand out? And make sure that when you give that Sar story, it's something that's meaningful to CNL Supreme. That's another reason why you want to make sure you do your homework. Always be ready with questions when they ask, do you have any questions? A person who doesn't have questions appears to the employer to be not very interested. So we encourage you to have good questions. Beyond that, I oftentimes recommend that people say, if there's one last time that they say, do you have any more questions? Ask the interviewer about their experience with the company. That's a great way to make a connection. It can also give you enough information that when you send your thank you email, you can bring that up as a reminder. And that goes to the final point. Please always remember to send a thank you email if you can't do it that evening, the next morning after the interview. Do you have any other questions, David?
Yeah, do you know if there's any educational requirements like a GED or high school diploma for the positions that are open?
Yeah, these positions do require a high school or equivalent.
Okay, great. And then another question that may be directed to Don. Do you know what the normal hours worked in a week are, or if there's any overtime pay that's provided?
They are listed in the actual job descriptions, but yes, Don Coleman would be able to answer those questions better.
Okay, great.
The postings are very thorough.
And looking at my list here, I don't think there's any other questions that we have. I believe you answered all the other ones from this list. So thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Don, about CNL?
Well, I want to reiterate the fact that this is a company that's looking for highly skilled CNC and Swiss lathe and milling machine operators. But a highly skilled does not necessarily mean number of years. It could also mean the quality of the work that you've done. Make your resume may reflect the kind of language that's used in the job description, and make sure that your cover letter, and I recommend a cover letter, does a good job of talking about the value that you add, what sets you apart from other people. That's about all I could think of right now.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Don, for presenting
Thank
on
you.
behalf of CNL Supreme. And since this webinar is recorded, this will be added to Illinois WorkNet's YouTube channel and the employer booth page for CNL Supreme that's available on the Illinois WorkNet Virtual Job Fair site. And with that, I want to once again thank Don for presenting and letting us know about the open job opportunities at CNL Supreme.
Thank you for this opportunity, David.
Yeah, thank you.